Hi, Mark here from the Tangent-Bound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangent-Bound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangent-Bound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangentBoundNetwork.com and see if Tangent-Bound Network is right for you.
We're not doctors, therapists, trained professionals of any kind, so if you feel you do need help, please reach out and get the help you need. We have a whole list of things on our files page over on Facebook at facebook.com/crazylifepodcast, and or just search on the internet for the suicide prevention hotline number, or go to NAMI.org or whatever resource you can find. But just please reach out for help if you need it. If you feel as though you're going to harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. And try not to be alone. Also, if you feel that way and you realize that you're writing a note or making plans of how you would do, like harm yourself or others, definitely reach out. That's a huge red flag. And lastly, please do not replace the idea of therapy with listening to this show. Again, if you need help, please reach out and get the help that you need, or contact us. We can try to help you find the help that you need.
Life sucks to the last drop. Are you gonna blow your head off? Take good aim and don't forget to duck. Life sucks every Monday and all the way to Sunday, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't care how you're doing, what's up or how's it hanging. I'd like to buy this world one last drink. Life sucks all of the time, stick it up your sunshine, and then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day. And then you'll see the clouds every day.
Welcome to the Crazy Life, everyone. My name is Jen. I am your hostess for the evening. And with me, as always, we have Brian and Henno. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
And that would be my dog in the background. Folks, I am on my phone tonight instead of the mic, so if there is some extra sounds and stuff, I do apologize. As everyone knows, I do have two puppies who are not so puppies. But in case you hear, dogs in the background and stuff, I do apologize. Also, I happened to hear my voice on the playback that Brian did for the sound test, and I sound like a 5-year-old, or 12-year-old little girl. So, for those of you who stick around, even though my voice annoys the crud out of me, and I don't know how it doesn't annoy the crud out of you guys, thank you. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it.
Wow.
I know. See, I called myself out on everything.
Well, it's pretty common for people to dislike their voice. It's one of the first things I've heard from so many people in like podcast groups that I'm in when they first start, because there's that question comes up all the time is how do you get over, hating the sound of your voice? And I'm like, well, I've done editing on, 547 episodes of Salty Language and 321 of this one. So, it's like at some point you just get over it. But, it's, I don't know. It's just tough.
I just try to avoid it.
Yeah. That's all.
Try to avoid hearing it. That's all.
if you're not the one doing the editing, just don't listen back. That's the move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That seems to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could try dropping my voice, but yeah, it doesn't work.
That's pretty weird. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
So I'm going to jump in, and I think I'm just going to start us off.
Okay.
So one of the things that...
well, first
so
of all,
folks,
Jen, you didn't have a choice.
Yeah, because you weren't here last week.
You weren't here
so
last
you had
time.
to start
yeah.
True.
Rules
so don't
is
make
rules.
it out like it's some noble cause
Yeah.
tonight or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're just
Everyone
like
behind
everybody
me.
else that misses a freaking episode.
That's right.
You're not special,
about
that.
okay?
I did just mention it too, and before the podcast started.
Uh-huh.
I do apologize, everyone, that I was not able to make the meeting. I had unintentionally over medicated and ended up not being in a place that I was able to join the guys.
Yep. Jen was going to do a podcast, but then I got high. then I got... Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, sorry. She over-medicated.
Over-medicated.
She took too much Pepto.
Over-medicated.
Too much
I was gonna do a
Pepto-Bismol.
podcast,
Yeah.
but then I over-medicated.
Yeah.
I was going to take the dog for a walk, but then I over-medicated.
Right.
I was supposed to take the girl out for ice cream, but then I over-medicated.
Handel's writing a song to me. That might be your next big hit, mister.
Yeah.
You need to start writing that stuff down.
Yep.
So as everybody who's been listening to the podcast knows, I've been having kind of a rough spell with my bipolar. And the holidays were not the best for me because it was just way too much overstimulation. All good stuff, but it was just a lot of overstimulation for the month of December. Coming right off of a major manic attack. In hindsight, I can see all this. When I'm in the middle of it, I cannot, unfortunately. And it's tough because even when people ask me who care about me and try to check in with me as to how I'm doing, I don't have the capability of recognizing and truly verbalizing where I'm at. I don't know if that resonates with anyone out there, but so it comes out as I'm good.
Right.
And I'm okay. I'm fine, because in that moment I am. But it's really hard. And then after the holidays, having such an extreme drop off of all of the overstimulation, it put me in a very vulnerable place. And unfortunately, I made some pretty bad choices, which ended up with me starting to gamble again. So I fell off the wagon pretty bad. Verbally broke some bones and was trailing behind the wagon because it was, let's just say it was spectacularly, imploding myself. But the good news is that I'm seeking help. I'm in a program now. I was in a program and I stopped the program, and I was told I shouldn't, and I did anyways because I thought I knew better. I'm in now a place to recognize the fact that I do not know better, and that I am very humbled by the fact that it doesn't matter what status you have in life, how smart you are, or anything like that. Addiction doesn't care, and it's not logical, and it doesn't make sense. And when I tell my story to people who are not addicts, and they kind of look confused, and I said, that's a good thing. You shouldn't understand. If you do, you probably need to get help, because if you can understand, that means that you have some of this in you. I'm very happy and glad when people say they can't quite understand where I'm going from. Now, that being said, I can understand and accept and love people regardless of whether they understand where I'm at or not, because they are coming from a place of non-judgment and trying to understand and be a partner for me and a support system. I have run into people who are very judgmental and are very, they choose to go a different route than the understanding aspect, which again, I can respect because everybody has to handle things differently. But as we talked about, this is a time that I have to really focus on me and getting me healthy and surrounding myself with healthy things and distracting myself with things that will be adding to my life versus detracting. So, am I in for a rough road? Absolutely. Do I have my support system in place? I do. So just make sure everybody understands I am not in any physical or mental danger at this time. My therapist, my psychiatrist are both aware of the situations I'm going through. They're both trying to help me in every way they can through different types of medications, through talk therapy, and I have people checking on me daily to just make sure that everything is going the way it should be going. And I've got some plans for the future, for financially as well as for my life. So I'm trying to set up goals for myself and different milestones. So some easy and some nearby, and then some down the road. Every so often, little hurdles and little things that I can do to prompt me and push me forward. So, and to hold me accountable. I'm not going to lie, a big part of it is holding me accountable for my actions and taking responsibility. And the one thing people have offered me that I will absolutely flat out refuse, because I've made this mistake before, is I cannot accept a dime from anyone else. I can accept love, I can accept support, I can accept just about any other help whatsoever, but I cannot accept a dime, because I have to go that road by myself to prove to myself that I'm strong enough to do this. And it really was a hard pill to swallow, because especially when you have people and organizations and stuff offering what seems to be easy solutions, but there are no easy solutions. The easiest solution is working the programs. The easy way out is taking the time, sitting the issues, work your steps, work on yourself. That's the easy road. It seems like it's the hard road, but that's actually the easy road. The hard road is to stay on the path that you're on right now and continue the negative, deteriorating, progressive issues that are going on. One of a good friend of mine told me, he's like, play the tape through. And what that means is, so often we only play the tape halfway through. So we have a scenario in front of us and we stop at the place that is good and happy and wonderful and everything works out right. We don't play the tape to the end. And in the end, it doesn't work out the way we want it to. And that's based upon past history. It's like time and time again, if you don't play the tape through, you're like, oh, this is going to work out great. If you stop and really look at it and play it to the end, it's like, has this ever worked out right in the past? Well, no. Maybe this time? No. Mm-hmm. We can be optimistic, we can be hopeful, but probably not. I will make it akin to, let's say, a good old-fashioned Lions fan Brian, you can relate to this as well as I can. As much as we wish, as much as we want them to be a Super Bowl champions and do well, they're going to have some wins, which give you hope, give you excitement. But overall, you just know they're going to be the Lions and they're going to do their thing. And at the end of the year, you're going to look back and go, well, we got next year. Maybe we got a good pick this year. Play that tape all the way through to the end. That's one of the biggest lessons I'm learning so far, is that. And it's okay, and we've talked about this before, it's okay to be healthy selfish. If it means taking a break from people or places that are not pushing you forward at this moment, that's okay to focus on you. And it's okay to work on you. And to say, right now is not a good time to be dependent upon me, because I'll do everything I possibly can to be there. But right now, I have to be selfish. I have to kind of hunker down and hold my time and hold everything kind of close. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to end on a happy note. So something I did decide to do, and I'm trying it out. Only done one, and it wasn't super successful, but there is actually an online improv group in my area, and you log on, and it's a Zoom-based scenario, and you actually play improv games, and it was really fun. The one I jumped onto, I was only able to do one game with them before my internet was acting up. The dogs were not behaving, so I ended up bowing out. But the game that they were playing is, you name a person in the room and you give them an emotion, and they have to say the phrase in that emotion that's decided in the beginning. So the phrase that was given to us was, "How's the weather?" So like I would go, "Henno, how's the weather?" Angry. So you would have to say, "How's the weather?" in your interpretation of angry, and share that with the audience, so that they can get that, what's behind it, or giggly, or funny, or, all of that stuff, irritated. So you kind of can work on your, quote unquote, acting chops type thing. But it's super casual, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm finding, and it's not a lot of commitments. They have a lot of different, not really shows, but different Zooms that they do. They usually do one a night almost. There's only a couple nights that they skip during the week. So you can hop on when you're free, versus like being in the theater where you have rehearsals and all this other stuff. It's a lot more of a commitment. This is kind of just a fun thing. So if I'm sitting home by myself and don't really have a lot going on, I can just jump on to this and have kind of some fun, light entertainment for the evening. So it seems to be a fairly good and healthy outlet for me to kind of keep me distracted from things. So yeah. So on a light and happy note, that was a lot of fun. So a lot of turmoil in my life right now, but I'm growing, and growing hurts. But I know I'm growing, which is a good thing. So with that, I pass. Who's next? You know what that is.
Well, I'll go next so that I can take things down like I like to do. So no, it's since the last time we recorded, unfortunately, my mom's partner passed away, and it was a little, well, not a little. I mean, it was sudden. We really didn't expect him to go to that point, but so this is, not the first rodeo with this. This has happened multiple times with, over the years, and where, unfortunately, my mom was with my dad and he had cancer and died, and then the guy she was with after got cancer and died, and then this one unfortunately had medical issues and passed away. And it's, it's weird because people keep asking us how we're doing and all this, and I'm telling people that we're okay, and they're like, no, really, how are you? And it's like, no, really, it's like I'm okay, like I liked him and everything, but I wasn't as close to him as I was, obviously, my dad or, whatever. So it's, like, I'm fine. And, it hurts, my mom. It's like the part that's hardest for me, of course, is watching her go through it because, I hate watching anyone I care about hurt. It sucks. Especially when you don't really feel like there isn't a lot you can do. You kind of have to just wade through the hurt. Much kind of like Jen was saying, like the real path through things is literally through things, not around them. And like with this, we know, with time it gets easier. It'll still hurt, but it's easier to cope with. It's just a matter of dealing with that. And, so for now it's kind of things really are kind of okay at the moment. The funeral will be coming up, and then, for a few days there, of course, things will be probably a mess again because, the finality and the closure there. But overall, I think, things are okay, even though, and it's not to demean, what Jim meant to any of us or any of that stuff. It is literally, though, like you can get through it because you've done it before type of a scenario. You've already been tested in the fire. So, although, on the flip of that, it just because you've been through it doesn't make it, doesn't make things easy at all. It just makes you, just does give you that visualization of, hey, I made it through before, I can do this. And, but I do appreciate, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. Tons of people have reached out to my mom, through social media and just on the phone and stuff. And it's just, it's good to know that people cared and care, and are willing to help out. So, and it's just weird on top of it. We got a little bit of snow over the last few days, and that's kind of, stopped anybody from coming over. So, that was a little weird too, but not all bad either. 'Cause, I remember after my dad died that like one of my favorite days was literally after the funeral was over, and it was just everybody finally left. Everybody went home, and it was just like, like just finally we have some peace and quiet again. So, so there's that.
For sure.
And, it stinks because of my potential exposure to COVID a few weeks ago. I had to cancel my therapy appointment, and I had to cancel another appointment. So now I've got to try to, now that I've had the negative test result, I got to call and reschedule, and, that'll probably put my therapy another month away, which really sucks, because I had an appointment, but I had to cancel it because I wasn't able to go in that day. So that stinks because I really feel like I could use it for, it's been a while since I was in anyway. So, I'm kind of feeling that, the best way I can put it really is like, I'm hitting full, I need to go in there for that emotional dump, like
right.
Go in there, just bleh, everything. And then you feel good again, basically until you feel full up again. I'm kind of hitting that point. So I'm hoping it won't be a long time. All the holidays and stuff are over. So, hopefully things will be a little more back to normal as far as the scheduling for that stuff goes. But, yeah. I haven't really done much else, because it's all been about, what's been going on with the other, and, just making sure my mom's taking care of herself and, practicing her self-care and everything, at the moment. So, yeah, I think that's about it for me. Like I said, I really haven't done a whole lot. Plus with the weather, that's pretty much kept us in So there hasn't really been much to go do either.
Yep, we just got, 12 inches, I think, were by me.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's decent.
The airport
Mhm.
official numbers is like 12.5 inches, but I think where I'm at, I think we got probably more like 8 or under 10, I think. Like, I'm thinking
Mhm.
it's more like 8 or 9 inches because, like, I look outside and it doesn't look that bad, you know? So,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It might have been more, you know. The worst part is, like, up on our porches, the way the snow was, it was a little tough to get the door open. And then because it was like a light snow, it blows around a lot. So the wind blew it up again, you know, so we actually, our neighbor came
Mhm.
over and cleared us a path so we could open the door. Because
Huh.
we probably could have if you just keep, you know, all I need is enough to get myself outside. And then obviously, but it was just easier. She just came up real quick and just, you know, got some room for us to get out the door and whatever. And I was really hoping there'd be some like 40, 50 degree days, or, you know, like not 50, but like 40 degree days coming through afterwards to maybe melt some of it. But it looks like we're a good week or so away from anything like that. So it looks like this snow is going to just sit out there for a while.
And pretty much, I mean, the reason I know I've got about 12 inches or so is because we did shovel a path for the dogs, but they like to go, you know, rogue and off the path and have fun playing in the snow.
Going
But
rogue.
Yeah.
but the one thing they don't like is they don't like going potty in the snow. So, you know, who likes a cold butt? I mean, so yeah,
I mean, it's
that
kind
makes
of
it
refreshing, you
interesting.
know. I mean,
I mean, it depends on how much spicy food you had the night
there's
before,
that.
doesn't
Yeah.
it?
That's true.
You had some pretty rough Thai food or something, maybe, you know, maybe a cold butt's not a bad thing. You know?
Yeah.
They do have these things called dude wipes, which, if anyone's not familiar with them,
Yep.
they're extra large wipes for dudes.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be super strong and everything. Well, I was at the grocery store the other day and looking at and they were on the shelf, and I was looking at the shelf and stuff, and I looked, and they actually have mint scented ones. And I'm like, seriously, you want a mint scented wipe?
Yeah.
But hey, I guess whatever works for you.
Hey,
So,
would you rather
maybe
have the
they cooler
alternative
cups.
scent?
Mhm.
I said, would
No,
you
I
rather
don't
have the
think any
alternative?
scent would be good, but hey,
Yeah.
what do I
Well,
know? I'm not a dude.
There's a good chance that those have some sort of cooling in them for folks with maybe like some, you know, some
Some heat
hemorrhoids
issues, got
or
it.
whatever. Yeah, yeah. Or for sometimes, you know, like Henno said, sometimes the backside gets a little roasty and you need to cool it down a little bit. So that may be what they're for. Yeah, I remember them because I remember seeing them when they originally pitched on Shark Tank.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no way. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. Because when they came on there, I remember going, those are a great idea. And, you know, they were kind of divided on whether they thought it was a good idea or not, because they were trying to market them, you know, differently towards men than the other flushable wipes out there.
Mm.
And clearly they had something, because that was years ago when they did that. I mean, they've been around for a while now.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of cool because they have individual packets, and they have like a whole big packet. So it's really nice that they have it. You know, it's almost packets like a hand wipe would be in.
Yeah, I keep one in my
if you're eating
wallet.
barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So you can just stick it in your. Well, you could just stick it in your pocket, you know, and it's very inconspicuous for someone who wants to use one. You know.
Yep, that's
In
right.
the old prison pocket, the old prison wallet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nature's pocket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've derailed us into a whole separate world.
Yeah.
Hanno, how are you?
Oh, I've had much better weeks.
Oh no, you're supposed to be our light one.
Oh, well, I will end light, however, and I have like just endless wins. But I think I looked at my timesheet yesterday, and it was at least 10 hours of overtime. At least.
Wow.
So I have been at my work doing 12-hour days, going back in at 10 at night, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, getting in at 6, leaving at 6. And we had a major leak appear last Thursday in our. We have 4 gigantic boilers. Each one's the size of a car. Well, they're taller. It's more like a bus.
Jeez.
And and that they heat the water that goes. It heats the swimming pools. It heats the hot water tanks in every building. It heats all the air handlers in the units. It's the radiant floor. It heats the snow melt system. It heats it all. And we have one building where we still have underground pipes, and Omar suspected they were in these underground pipes, and we did a test. I went up there on Friday. I just took his word for it, and we're just losing fluid. And the problem with that is we ran out of glycol, or the antifreeze, in a day, and we had to go the whole weekend pretty much just adding water. And we have a certain level of freeze protection, and that freeze protection was dropping, and the weather forecast was calling for negative temperatures. And so fortunately there was no snow in the forecast, because our all the decks, the melting for the decks is that's where the real risk of the freeze is on our deck system. And I wanted to keep that closed, because that was still our old freeze protection, and what we were sending around to heat everything was no longer that level. And the main problem is that when we lose, it doesn't take a lot of liquid to bring the pressure back up, but when we drop to a certain level, the certain floors just don't get any heat. And the easiest way, if there was nobody in this building, we could have just shut the building off and brought in heaters and figured out ways to get by.
Yeah.
But it's our most occupied building, not by number, but just by percentage. And 2 of our guests are elderly, and one of them is 24-hour nursing care and is on oxygen.
Oh, man.
So it's not like you just, hey, can we check into a hotel?
Yeah.
And so the first thing that happened on Friday was to go up there, because Omar called me and he was freaking out. And I just, on the phone, I'll be up there later. I said, don't worry about it. It's just a leak. You could just tell he was taking it personal, this is, and just, remember, it's just a leak. Unfortunately, by the end of the weekend, it had kind of become a little more than that to us, because we actually, we want to find this thing.
There must be something under the couch.
There is.
I'm trying not to laugh too loud, and I'm just watching him. For anyone who can't see this, obviously, Heno's dog, Benny, is hunched all the way down, trying to look under their couch, and he's
just whining.
It was real. I don't know if it picked it up or not, but.
And it'll go on forever.
Yeah.
Lord. So we made it through the weekend, but I had guests in town, and I was leaving. We divided up by shifts, and I'd go in there and it would take a couple hours. And finally, we have this way of feeding in the glycol, this big tank, and I was filling it with water to see how many gallons it would take, because I'm like, I can't sit here for an hour while this feeds. I'm going to just hook up a garden hose and just fill it up in a couple of minutes, because if it's just water.
Yeah.
But I just needed to make sure that we were keeping track of how much just straight water we were adding. And Monday morning, I was there on Sunday, my usual day, and it was kind of a bummer. Friday night, we ended up not having heat in the building. We were trying to close things down to minimize the amount of loss we had, and we went a little too far. They didn't have any heat that night, but the next day we got them going, and on Sunday I came up with a way of slowing down the leak, and it was manageable. But by Monday, we did our testing, we did our tests to figure out where is the leak. And it's like everything came back to this one line underground that we fixed in 2013. And then we fixed the lines next to it. And we're talking a giant 100-foot hole right in front of the health club where, they broke through the asphalt. It's a roadway.
Oh, wow.
And here we are about to look at, we're going to do it a third time. And it was tough to tell the board members that no, they didn't do it in a way that this would never happen again. They figured that everything said that this is bulletproof. That we no longer have metal pipes underground, they're a poly pipe, and that this is bulletproof. Well, clearly it's not. We did these tests on Monday, determined it, as far as we were concerned, 100%, we nailed this. This is the section it's in. And then the whole now what? And I make a phone call to the guys that did the install. I did a little research, found the email address, called him, and he's basically telling me that this is impossible. That there's no way that basically there's the flanges that were connecting from one pipe to another are underground, and he said most likely the leak is from the flanges because when the pipe gets connected with like a heat welding kind of a thing, it's like a plastic, they melt the plastic into itself. And he basically said when that blows, it just blows out completely. Like there's no like, oh, it's leaking a little, right. It blows apart. And so he said it has to be at the ends. Well, we dug up one end and there was no leak there. And then it's like, okay, the other end is 10 feet underground and requires, luckily it's the middle of winter and the excavation company isn't exactly breaking ground on new building right now.
Yeah.
So they had nothing better to do.
Right.
And, we got them out. In the meantime, because of our tests, we started losing pressure even faster. And now it's like I can't sleep. I'm tired. Omar's tired.
Yeah.
Antonio throws his back out, so we're one man short. Over the weekend, we were already Frank was at a funeral. He, got back luckily on Tuesday, and we just was, one step at a time. Are we going to dig this up or not? And the hard part about it was bringing in experts, and having them make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. They weren't insulting.
Yeah.
They were just asking legitimate questions that had me going, okay, did I do all the tests? Am I sure about this? And inside I'm 100% sure, but these guys are making me second guess, which is a good thing. It makes you look at it and reevaluate it and all this stuff. And in the middle of all this like amazing stress, one night because of that, we did a second set of tests. But I did them, with some sonic equipment we had. And the funny thing about it is I did the whole testing with like kid gloves. And that night we held pressure all night long.
Yeah.
It was weird. I got 8 hours of sleep that night. Yeah. Got into work the next day. I'm like, all right. And I developed some theories based on that. So we got the hole dug to the other side. Nope. Those flanges aren't leaking either. It's like, okay, great. And in the meantime, we were talking about this freeze protection issue. Glycol, evidently the price has doubled.
Oh, fun.
And there just isn't any around, because of shortages. So our chemical company, they had 4 barrels they found in Washington for $2,000 each barrel.
Nice.
These are 55-gallon drums.
Yeah.
They used to cost us a little over $1,000 a barrel. Oof. Now it's $2,000. We get those coming in. In the meantime, I called someone that had wanted to make a connection with somebody I know from my men's group. And he was down. This is where it gets good. No one ever didn't call me back. No one didn't say I'll be there tomorrow. Everybody showed up right away. And it's not on that. They have no reason to.
Right.
And, my good friend Thad showed up. He's like, which side are you on? I'm 5 minutes away. I'll be right there. And he made a phone call down to a plumbing supply place in Haley where I live And he's like, I think they have almost 20 barrels of glycol. It's not the concentrate that we usually use. It's already mixed with water, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And we had that. We ended up with 10 drums of that, and we burned through it by the time that we got the hole dug. And so Thursday rolled around, and we finally we asked Thad if he does a hydrogen gas testing where they fill the pipe up with hydrogen and then they detect the hydrogen above, because they'll at least tell you, this would be a confirmation, because we can't see any water, so this would be an actual confirmation of a leak, and it would more than likely tell us which end to start on.
Oh, okay.
Of this 150 feet, right?
Yeah.
And so he came out. We got the line done, and what was amazing is that night we were losing. I was at work at 11 at night when I'd already worked 12 hours, and I'd gone home for a few hours, went back to work. I'm there at 11, the board 10:30, and the board president comes down and he's looking at me, and I'm like, we've lost more pressure. We're not even able to maintain the pressure we were at 2 days before. We're at this point where it's like, if it drops any more, I'm going to say we can no longer heat this building.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you need to move people.
Right.
And we got in the next morning. Like I said, we did the pressure test. He detected the hydrogen. He detected on the end where the elbows are, which is like, okay, we blew an elbow apart. And I get back. Now it's action time. It's like, we need to find a plumber that has this equipment. Mm-hmm. And Thad gave me a hint that one of the local plumbers might have it. And this stuff is actually manufactured and sold in it's an international company, but their headquarters are here in Idaho, an hour away. And so, and our property manager said, why don't you call them and see who they work with here? And I'm like, perfect. Yeah. So I called him, and here's another case. He's like, they put me through to this guy, and he's like, I'm going to make a phone call, see what I can do for you. And within 15 minutes, I got a phone call from this plumber that we thought might have this equipment. The guy was right over, he was also 5 minutes away, showed right up. And I'm like, okay, this is where we're at. Like we're burning this, we're burning thousands of dollars a day, basically.
Yeah, right.
And we need you, the person that can do this work, so then we can line everybody else up. But he's like, okay, I can't make any promises. I'm going to call my boss. And he's on a deadline project, but he's close by. And he's like, okay, you get this hole dug for me. I'm here. I'm putting it all together for you. I got all the equipment.
Nice.
And it was like, okay, we're doing that Monday. And the best part was that at one point the board president was like, wanted to stop the like, what if we paid him extra to come, have him come on? I'm like, stop. I'm like, we're getting something coordinated for Monday. Let's leave it at Monday.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, as much as I don't want to wait a few more days, it's like, this is some things are starting to line up, but this was the best part. So that had gotten us these 10 drums from like I said, this plumbing place. And in the meantime, we called down there to see if they had any more. They had 8 more, and this time my coworker put it on our credit card. And he said, all right, I got 8 more coming, and you do not want to know how much that bill just was. And when I got in there, I was like, how much money is it? He's like, oh, that was $11,000 we just spent.
Yeah.
And that meant I'm like, wow, we're 14 grand in on Thad's credit, with this company.
Yeah.
And, and I'm like, and we may burn it all out by the end of the weekend.
Jeez.
Well, I went in, I got up 3 times last night. I said I would do the midnight shift. Like, I've been coming home and just crawling right into bed. And one night I slept for about an hour, and then my brain activated.
Oh, right.
Activated like you would not believe. And I started playing through all the scenarios and things that we need to do and this and that. And it was like that, you just feel I hadn't eaten enough. I hadn't drank enough water.
Yeah. And
everything about me was in that state of, that where you've got the, why am I forgetting the chemical, with the C? Yeah. That's the stress. It's the brain stress chemical.
Cortisol?
Cortisone.
Cortisol. Yeah,
Or
cortisol.
Yeah.
Cortisol.
Yeah.
I had
Sorry.
massive cortisol just, and
By the way, I prefer the
yeah. Because you know what? That's what it feels like. But everybody knows this feeling. It's the heightened, highest level of anxiety you could feel.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a job. That's all it is. It's a leak. It's going to get fixed. Everything's going to work out. Do my mantras.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. And I fell asleep and I wake up again and I check, on the pressures and stuff. And that was the night that everything actually held, believe it or not. But I had to keep doing these mantras. But at least it was something. It was funny. I'd wake up. The weird thing is I'd wake up and I'd be doing the mantras again immediately, which was a trip.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to activate. I didn't have to tell myself to do them. And today when I went into work, yesterday the game plan got put together for Monday. I went into work today, and because like I said, last night I was on midnight shift, and every time I looked, we were holding pressure. We were losing a little, but not much. By the time I went in today, we weren't losing any pressure whatsoever. We had, $11,000 worth of 50/50 glycol. The 4 drums of the concentrate showed up from Washington. And you could sit there and say, well, all right, now we don't need it. Well, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And we don't know what's going to happen the next day. We just, we need to be prepared.
Yeah.
I got a phone call from the plumber a couple hours ago, said he had all the materials. And the best part was, now I understand what my old boss James went through when this happened in 2013 and 2017. Again, the amount of stress that he was under, dark circles under his eyes, losing sleep, not eating, all of that. But the one thing, we sat together in our office making plans, loving and respecting each other. We actually would laugh and joke as we were, all right, we got to find some parts. What do we got? Thad needs to pressurize this thing with hydrogen. How are we going to help him do that? And we were having fun doing it because it's what we do.
Right.
And we were not being short with each other when.
Sorry, I keep.
Now you got Benny's butt.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, that's blocked for me by your windscreen.
Gizmo.
Yeah, Gizmo. They were playing, and then Gizmo went under the couch, and Benny was barking because he couldn't get under there also.
Yes. So now it's Gizmo versus Benny. So Gizmo hides underneath, and Benny tries to get him.
Yeah, that's why I was
silly.
laughing, because Benny was doing something, and then I just see Gizmo slink under the couch, and Benny tried. That's why he got down and had his butt up in the air, and then it was like, no, this ain't gonna work.
Like Benny's been my savior. I would get home, crawl into bed, and he would just crawl right up on me and just snuggle up against me, and it was some. But the other one, so Antonio hurting his back, that was a tough one. That was really tough, and it's like and I just, I was like, the second day he called in, I'm like, man, his back better be really, really hurt. like seriously, he better be really hurt. And I was like, you know what, because my coworker was like, I'm going to call him, and I'm like, don't call him, especially don't tell him to come in, that we need him, because if he comes and gets hurt, it's a freaking lawsuit. But most of all, I'm like, no, he knows what we're going through. He knows. Yeah. He would be here in a heartbeat if he could. And these were just like I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to guilt trip anybody. We are going to get this together, through this together in the best way possible and with the best attitude possible. And that was there's so many wins in places where I saw James do it wrong, and take it out on us. And to do it differently, and this, like today, to go in there and just smiles on everyone's faces, even though like it's been brutal.
Right.
I've never had a work week like this.
Well, also at this point,
ever.
Because like you said, at this point, you guys are kind of feeling like the solution's on the horizon here. Like you're not totally at a loss anymore. You've at least got a plan. You're working. There. It's right there. Right. It's just a matter of it happening. So, You know, that'll
we still have
definitely help.
that last bit of like, okay, you know, the last bit of logistics, the last bit of, okay, do we pull this off? You know,
Right.
Those kind of things. But I'm just looking at the horizon of Tuesday. I mean, there's a light at the end of the tunnel now, and it didn't require digging up 150 feet of roadway.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
and yeah, there's still some logistical things we need to get done. But the main thing is, you know, we're the two people, the older people that are in this building, they don't even, I mean, they know that one of them knows there's a hole in the road, but they don't really know what's going on. They don't even know that we've been shutting the heat off for 3 hours a day. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, the building's well put together, but the other two, so, you know, 4 people in a 7-unit building, and 2 of them are board members. It's like, great. You know? Yeah. So it's been a real challenge, but it's also like a measure of what we've been able to do with our new facilities team.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like I've mentioned to my mom and people over the last couple of weeks here, it's, you know, people keep asking my mom, like, how are you so strong? How are you so strong? And I'm like, everybody's strong. You just don't know how strong you are until you test it, right? Like, you don't know how much weight you can lift until you try, you know? Until you're in the gym and you go to lift a weight and go, okay, I can't lift this, or, oh, this is simple, I could do more than this, you know? And like with you guys, those tests are good because that puts you in a position to where you guys could go, hey, we can handle this. You know, I'm sure, you know, especially once it's completely wrapped, that hindsight will be a great feeling. And then like anything else, if something comes up later, hey, remember we handled this, we got this. You
that's
know,
it. And that's why when you were talking about that earlier about, you know, where you said you feel kind of weird about actually being okay with things, you know, and and that's where it comes from. It's just that you've learned, you've been tested before and you knew you got through it.
Yeah.
And so I think some of that fear doesn't creep in.
Right.
That you know, you're still hurting, you're going through all the things you're going through, but there's a little more optimism at the end of it because of, you know, you've been through it before.
Yeah.
And this really is going to, you know, tie us all together. And the funny thing is the new general manager starts on Monday.
Oh, how convenient. They missed all the fun. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. You said some of it's still going to be going on Monday. So,
well, that's going to be the best part is I'm going to walk into the office and I'm just, you know, whenever Joe shows up, it's like, hi, Joe, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why don't you come up to the hole? You can come up to the hole in the ground and watch what we're doing. But basically, we won't be, you know, having our official, like, glad to have you here until this thing is
like
done.
You're here today, but as far as all of us are concerned, your official first day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Kathy today, and it's like, yeah, we'll have the housekeeping staff meet him and stuff, and you know, and our board president was going to come in and give him a little tour of the property since we're going to be in the middle of stuff. But yeah, it's with it just feels good to know that we can go through something like this and do it with grace and dignity.
Yeah.
And to be always thinking in the right, you know, to have your head in the right spot.
Yeah. And to not lose your calm and your, you know, or at least, you know, or the worst part, I guess, is, or best part is to not take it out on each other or not take it out on people. Because that really was like, you know, you know, we've talked about it in here, but you and I have talked about the way that the last person did things was at times very inappropriate in how he took things out on people. So, you know,
it was, I mean, it was just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
And it created, you know, division. And I feel like we've done nothing but to create harmony and like everyone, you know, just, you know, like Frank's saying, I got it. I'll come in at this hour, you know, cause I said, I said, I'll come in at night, but I need to go to sleep at some point. He's like, don't worry about it. I got it. And he came in at 2 and at 4 and, you know, it's like,
that's
he
awesome.
just took care. And then he showed up at 9 a.m, ready to go. And it's like, all right. Yeah. Awesome. So it was a heck of a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately now I'm behind on so many things that I was supposed to be doing, and today was my first like honest feeling like I have a day off that I don't have to, be worrying about anything, and I basically kind of did nothing.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
It's one of those where you look at it, right, and it's like, but you earned it. Even though you shouldn't, I love. There's been this contingent of, or this thought process online of people posting on Twitter a lot, like, hey, remember, you don't have to earn rest. You don't earn rest. You deserve rest. And even though I jokingly saying you earned it, because you have, you've put yourself through, messing with your own sleep and different stuff and the stress to where, there's nothing wrong with taking a day and just really doing nothing. But it also does kind of stink if you're looking at like, to where you see busy and then you're like, okay, I got that one day, and then busy again after, and you're like, I got to get some stuff done that day. And then the day comes, you're like, maybe I don't.
I don't want to do anything. Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to get anything done. Yeah. So, yeah. Good stuff, though.
We've the three of us have had some challenges.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. It's been not fun. That's for sure.
So I think it just brings me back to gratitude in that having tools, having the people, having opportunities like like this, having podcasts to come in, and I think that all plays in the background a little bit. At least it does for me.
It's interesting too. I didn't think about mentioning it earlier, but you're right, because I actually found myself, and I know I mentioned it to you guys. I'm pretty sure. I know for sure I mentioned it to Jen, but about how through this whole, last few weeks, last month or so, where he's been in and out of, where he was in the hospital. I've been really grateful for my siblings because, I don't drive. My mom needed a ride to the hospital and to different stuff like every day to visit because, with as much stress as she's feeling, none of us really wanted her to drive. Also, they got a roundabout that's really, really confusing right by on the way to the hospital. So she'd have to go way out of her way to avoid it. So, my siblings have been really good about, taking her, picking her up. And that's where I ended up finding myself in so many times was just how many things they did. Or like the night he passed away, she called my brother and was talking with him, and he was at work, and he's like, I'm coming over. And he asked the guy he works with, hey, can you cover me? And he came over. He got to our place about 2:30, 2:45 in the morning, because we got the call around 2 in the morning. And my brother, Jimmy, got here at about 2:45 or so, and he was here till like 7 in the morning. Because his work schedule, he would have been at work all that time anyway. So but around then he was starting to, you could look at him and tell it was catching him. He's starting to get tired, and he's like, okay, I think I'm going to go home before I get actually tired, and my sister was one sister was at work, so she couldn't get out of it. But, the other one was going to come over, and I'm like, hey, Jim's coming over. I'm here. If you want to just get rest because you got work in the morning, do that, and then you can always come over tomorrow because, that'll give her someone to come over. And that's what she ended up doing, and she was here for a while. And then because of everything that was going on, like I asked Jen to take me to pick up groceries before our snow hit. And, so I just, one of those things where I'm very grateful for all the people around. And I was very much like appreciative of it right then. It wasn't like you look back and go, oh man, people really stepped up. I was very much like, I thank Jimmy for coming over that night. Earlier in the night before he had passed away, my sister, my other sister, had invited us over for dinner, and I wasn't feeling real good. But my mom went over there, so she got to spend time with her, and, they had dinner and had a good time and all that stuff. So it was like, I appreciate that they're really, really coming through for mom here. Not that they wouldn't normally, but, it's I very much made sure I went out of my way to thank them for what they were doing, because it means a lot to me that they're helping her, also. And I think it was cool that, I saw it right away and was very much in that moment of, hey, you're doing something that means a lot to her and it means a lot to me, and thank you for doing that. Even though I know you don't need the thank you, like you're doing it because what else would you do, right? That's how we're built. But still, I want to make sure I say it, because knowing you're appreciated helps, So
yeah, that's how I want to put a letter in our local paper when this is all done, just making a public thank you to the various local contractors who stepped up.
Yeah.
It's interesting. None of them have a relationship with us. Yeah, they may have worked, at the property, but some of them haven't. They've never worked with us at the HOA, and they've all jumped on to help us solve this problem. And and it's just, I want to have a big, huge thank you to them for doing that.
Yeah, that's understandable. I can totally see that. It's really cool when people will do stuff like that, whether it's, coming through for somebody who needs, somebody who needs a little shoveling done or something like that, or somebody like in your scenario where it's like a big project that you need things done and in a timely manner, because like you said, you guys were literally bleeding money, just burning it up. So the longer it takes, the more money you're just burning in the process. So it's nice when other people can go, hey, you need that help, we can come help you. And
and they know they're getting paid. Know they're getting paid.
Sure.
And even like I told Thad, I said, please, when he first came the first time through, just spent, what it was about an hour on the property. I'm like, well, please put this on your, on your invoice about, even if it was just this consulting. And, and he was even fair. He's like, he said, I know it sounds like I'm about to turn down money, but he's like, maybe you shouldn't do the gas test. Maybe you should just dig up the whole thing. And in the end, we ended up doing the gas test, and he made some money off of it.
Yeah,
great,
right.
He got to show off his fancy new toy, which was pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of interesting. But and this part is also we're establishing new relationships, because our previous relationships were all because of James, my old boss.
Yeah.
And those were his. And I'm like, we're going to do it differently, and it's great to do that. So yeah, it's I at one point I told Kathy, I said, when this is all done, I am going to freaking cry. It's going to be a happy cry, but I'm going to freaking bawl.
Yeah.
Just like,
that's understandable, though. Yeah.
When that water runs through the building and the boiler pressure doesn't drop at all, I'm just going to be like,
yeah.
And Jerry's like, I'm buying the champagne. I'm like, can you give me a little apple cider?
Yeah. Like, about that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff.
But understandable, though. They're just the relief tears at that point. So, yeah.
Yeah, it really will be.
Well, awesome. Jen, are you still there? I hadn't heard her in a while. I was just thinking about it. I was like, I haven't heard Jen say anything in a while, and I haven't seen a text come through like, hey, my internet went out or something. So I think we might have lost her, or she might have fallen asleep. I don't know which.
Hey, it's quite all right. I think we got a show.
Yeah, we definitely do. I just got to know, because I got to pull up some information here.
Funny.
Oh, man.
Yeah, am I closing this thing out? Or...
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here?
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Welcome to the crazy life.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. All right. Well, I guess, that was a pretty good, I think, cover stuff. We're not going to, do an official topic today, but I think I am going to name the show, like, what is it that Jen said? Watch the whole tape?
Play the whole tape.
Play the whole tape. That's what it was. And I think that's what I'm going to name the show, because that really, I think, kind of, is a good thing for people to think on and, try to apply in their own lives, including me. I had not thought about that, but that's right. There's plenty of times where we all do stop the tape where we want to stop it at, instead of, seeing the whole thing.
And also sometimes we don't play the tape when we're in the middle of something. we're so in the moment that we forget to stop and say, okay, if I do this, where does this lead?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like play out the tape. If you have experience with something, play out the tape.
Right.
Where did it lead last time?
Yeah.
And then maybe what you're thinking about doing right now is not the thing you should be doing.
Yeah. It is interesting how it really can be applied either way. Like maybe you haven't played the whole tape out to see what you're doing is going to lead to a negative consequence. But it can also be the other way. It's like, hey, just keep going. It's going to turn out, you know, like you've done this before. Everything's going to be okay, you know?
Yep,
so,
that's in both ways, yeah.
Yeah, so yep. I think that's, we'll go with that for the show title, and I think that's a good thing to think on for the week. So, did I pull up the wrong thing? Might have. Nope, there it is. Whew, all right. If you want to continue the conversation, you can find our website at thecrazylifepodcast.weebly.com. You can email us if you'd like to at thecrazylifepodcast@outlook.com. The show Twitter can be found at thecrazylifepod. I don't think Jen's really still doing social media, so if you want to reach out to her, you know, contact the show Twitter and I can pass it along to her, or email the show and she'll see it. Heno, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ida Heno. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. Full name Heno Heiter. And you can check out my other podcast, Moving the Needle podcast.
Easy enough to say, yeah.
Exactly. And we just released our. Oh boy, I'm still behind on the one. So it was the verses. No, it was the an obscure object of desire. That's what it was. It was the surrealistic film.
I was going to say, I'm not sure because I am so far behind on my podcast again. Because like for the last week and a half, I haven't even listened to a podcast. So, and for me, you know, I've got like 20, 30 that I download. So, you know, I'm going to be buried and have to make some decisions again. So
yes, it was with our friend Sarah Netzley, and we did
cool. She's fun.
Yeah, and we did the Louis Binwell's That Obscure Object of Desire. So that episode should be out right now. Wow, it's funny. I've been this happened. The tweet got put up on February 1st, and I hadn't seen the show image yet, and it's a great image.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. That's weird. Usually I see stuff in my feed.
Image.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen anything, so I'll have to look for it.
I'm about to retweet it, so.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stunami. My other podcast can be found at salty_language on Twitter or at saltylanguage.com. That show is not safe for work. It's just me and my best friend talking about just kind of whatever we see in the news or pop culture, whatever. Like this week we talked about, you know, the snowmageddon that was supposed to hit us, and we talked about him getting a bread maker and how the book Mouse was banned in Tennessee. How, you know, Sony buying another publisher, you know, the Halo trailer for the TV show, Contraband Baloney, a giant cast iron skillet. You know, we're just kind of all over the place, but
Contraband Baloney.
Yeah. So if you're into any of that kind of stuff, please give us a listen. Again, not safe for work, so be careful.
If you're into Contraband Baloney.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
just,
listen, I don't know who's into smuggling baloney, you know. Just the name of the show or episode. We are also on Facebook. This show is on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/crazylifepodcast. We're part of the Tangent Bound Network, which can be found at tangentboundnetwork.com. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I haven't mentioned in a long, long time, but if you listen to the intro song for this show, it was written by the lovely and talented Heno. And if you didn't listen to it, go back and listen to it because it's fun. Also, listen to the Salty Language one because he also did that one. So, and that one's also good fun. Although you won't understand a lot of the stuff in that one if you're not a long-time listener. Or actually, we're at a point now that if you're a long-time listener, you may not understand depending on where you started listening. Because all those inside jokes were up through what, like 300 or
It was through 300, yeah. And even some of those inside jokes, I didn't know what they were.
right, and we're 247 past that point now.
Yeah, it's time for an update.
Yeah,
Way past an update.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, thanks for listening, of course. And is there anything else? Oh yeah, duh. If you need help, please reach out, and please check on your friends that maybe going through something rough, but also just reach out to people you haven't talked to in a while. Just make sure they're doing okay. And yeah, I guess just as always, just please be kind. I talked about this on Salty Language a little bit. It was amazing how, like, in any area you live in, and I know Heno, because of snow. Like, anytime they're like, oh, we're gonna get just dumped down with snow, probably your supermarkets are probably absolutely crazy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it gets. Yeah. Well, everyone here's pretty much trained professionals.
Yeah. Well, they used to be here, but we just don't seem to get the snow like we used to get. So but they were talking before this really hit that this might be like 18 inches of snow in 24 hours, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Major deal.
Deal, right? So everybody was just crushing the grocery stores. And I went to 2 stores. The one I went to, people were literally like punching old ladies. And at the other one, everyone's, oh, excuse me, pardon me. Would you like to go in front of me? It's just crazy how there's that difference. But, so even in those kind of times, it was, we all understand you're all, we're all tense and upset and in a hurry, but, please still practice kindness and try to help others if you can. So there you go. Heno, you want to take us home?
Yeah. Before you react, play the tape through, all the way through. This way you will enjoy the ending, regret-free.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
I was like, quick, find a tape.
Yeah.
Quote, meme, whatever, something.
Right. And of course, as Jen always says, wiggle those toes.